Hi, everyone. Welcome to the May TC&A newsletter, Your Choice. We are happy to be back with you this month as we focus on life-giving connection, communication, and community for all generations, and really how to work and live best together. We're going to give you some tools and resources today for all of the generations because there are a lot of differences in the generations, right? Whether they're relational experiences, eras in which we grew up, geographical perspectives, educational experiences, abilities and learning, work experiences, all of the things are literally are so many different things about the generations. And Tess, why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about the intention behind this generational communication focus?
I would love to. I think what's interesting about this topic is that Justin, your brother, my son, has been asking for probably over a year for us to write about generational communication in the workplace. And we put that aside until now.
Mhm.
And what's been interesting is his perspective was there needs to be cross-functional, generational communication, decision making, strategy making to build cultures within businesses. And we know from the research we've done, just from SHRM and HR focus, is that there's four different generations in the workplace at this time, which is, I know as a baby boomer, we're having a hard time leaving the workplace. We like to work. We've been programmed to work and provide and to also live with purpose. So, what was interesting is at the end of 2024, I'm a part of a global group of leadership coaches. We're called Sacred Change Makers. We really seek to how we can influence good change, positive change, influential change in the workplace as we coach those that we serve. And they wanted to provide a resource kit.
Yeah.
So as we were all in alignment saying, this sounds like a great idea, I don't think any of us really understood the time factor and the uh, just all that was involved in putting this together. But it was a great experience overall. And our portion that we were asked to write about, can you guess what it was?
Yeah.
It was on generational communication.
Yeah.
And so we added the generational connection, communication, and community so that it's all encompassing, whether you're an individual or you're a family or you're part of a team or you're part of leading an organization. We wanted to be able to give tools and resources to those who are interested in wanting to know more about how to build strong and healthy, mindful, healthy and good relationships.
Yeah, across the generations, right? And
Yes,
everybody is either in the workplace or in a family system that is dealing with multiple generations. That's just the
absolutely.
nature of being human, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
this really is applicable across the board, whether you're in the workplace or in your family system.
yes.
So we thought what we have three different tools and exercises that are available to you within this resource. So we'll link those for you if you're a part of the newsletter, you're getting those as well. But we just thought it would be interesting to talk about a couple of the questions that are brought up in the resource kit and from our vantage point of working together because you are a baby boomer. I am a millennial, bit of an elder millennial. I'll note that it's important for us elder millennials to note that piece. But Tess, can you give us an example of how are you learning and growing from me as a millennial? Like, how are we doing that together from different generational vantage points?
Well, I think what's interesting, first, you're my daughter, so I'm always interested in who you are and how you're growing and developing in your personal life and professional life, and we are deeply connected. But one of the things that I really, not just from a professional standpoint, but I've learned that listening is so key.
Mhm.
And I think of when we are engaged in conversation and it moves in the direction where it's, yes, sometimes it's about work and the processes, that systems that we're putting together for coaching, but listening is so key. Listening to understand, listening to affirm, listening to not give advice so much, but listening to ask good questions so that'll it will support you to think through the things that you're processing and thinking about. And that's really important to me because I do believe no matter what generation that we are connected to and seeking to communicate with generationally, we have I have a responsibility. I'll put it on myself. I have a responsibility to really enter in, listen to understand that your story is always unfolding, just as mine. Mine's farther along, but it's still unfolding. And it's key to be supportive and respectful of everyone's journey. And in our relationship, certainly listening builds the understanding, builds the respect to be fully supportive of the journey that you're on.
Mm. And I will affirm that you are an amazing listener, and anybody who is coached by you or in relationship with you benefits from that for sure. And yeah, I think it's interesting because I'll give an example as well of just how I learn and grow from you being the elder in our relationship. And I think there was a time when I was growing up that I probably didn't always feel as listened to because that's just part of a
There
mother-daughter.
may have been a telling style used.
That's part of those years of relationship, right?
Yeah.
So as I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I thought it was important to recognize that I think we both come together at our present moment.
Yeah.
Um, and not just forgetting about the past, but not like letting the past fuel us forward as opposed to spots in our story that could held us back, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
really choosing to lean into your wisdom and your experience because over the last, what, 20 years, I have been all ears. The first 20
Mhm.
years, I might have been rolling my eyes a bit more, or can you guys imagine like hearing the same thing she says now as like a 15-year-old? She's been saying them for a long time. So, and so I think there's been a depth and breadth. I think that's what you
Yes.
would even say of our
Yeah.
relationship growth over time of meeting each other where we're at, supporting each other with where we're at, and letting the past strengthen us to
Yeah.
actually then fuel us forward to the future because we still have a lot more fun to have.
I love that. I love that. Yes, yes. And there's different stages that we all go through in life. And I think that's what's important to remember as well. And I would say over the last probably, to your point, 15, 20 years, I've sought to share more of my own story as well for you to have a greater understanding of even why I mothered the way I did, or
Sure.
some of the experiences that we did have, and some of the things that we've even broken away from that were important in the growing up years, yet moved away from, that I think in many aspects freed us up to really explore the relationship that's been meaningful to both of us.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it laid the groundwork for us to have new mindsets together,
Yes.
as I came back to LA back in 2016 and us starting our journey of working together. And
Yeah.
so, as we've created new mindsets to work together and fully engage and communicate, how have we done that? What's an example from your vantage point of how we've developed a new mindset to support ourselves and having good and healthy communication?
Well, I think when we're in relationship, the staying curious, I am curious how the way you think and the way you choose to do things, it's different than myself. It's same way with Justin, it's different. Same way with all of our family members. And now that we've got the grandchildren, it's different. So I think an example is just staying curious as to um, who you are and how you do gain energy. You gain energy far more extroverted. I think when I was younger, I was far more extroverted. As I've gotten older, and I've moved into the realm of just enjoying things that aren't as extroverted, such as writing and researching, and certainly the coaching. It moves back and forth between being very extroverted and needing time in preparation. So there's some of those things. Certainly, how we are so different and complementary in how detailed you are, and versus my bigger picture, and I admire that and I value that about who you are. Certainly decision making, sometimes we go back and forth here of yes, we are empathetic and compassionate, and sometimes I tend to be more logical and just as a business owner of what we need to do, direction we need to go, but being collaborative in that process as well. And certainly the structure of things, we laugh because yes, I do like to have a plan and a form of structure and a system, and at the same time give me a plan and I'll probably break the plan and I'll just do something spontaneous. So it's it's really this overarching opportunity of curiosity to really know one another, and within knowing one another, building TC&A, building the business, building strong relationships with our clients that we're both in alignment with, is fun. I'm just finding this season of life so deeply gratifying for all of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. That was my example as well of just using the Myers-Briggs and having a greater understanding for our own selves, especially in the me being more detail oriented and you being more visionary. We bring those two things together and how we communicate, and then that leads us into how we're making decisions as well. And the more that we remember that we have those differences, then the quicker we can get back on track when we do have
Mhm.
moments as well. I think, in our earlier years of working together, there was more, having to get ourselves back on track together. And now we kind of just laugh when we notice that I'm being overly detailed and I need to bring you back down to earth from being too visionary. So it really is a good combo, and you've stretched me to envision more. And what do I want business to look like?
Yes,
I
yes.
came into TC&A that you had already had a foundation, and we've grown it exponentially since then
Yes,
over the last 8 years, but also you helping me to see what do I envision for,
yes,
the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And that is really meaningful to me as well, because I don't know that I would have thought in that same way had I not really been paying attention to our different preferences.
yes, yeah.
So thank you for that.
Well, and thank you. I think what's been so interesting is realizing that the different generations, the different personalities, the different vantage points of which we enter into the relationships that we have, the work that we do, the difference is good.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and the difference actually makes us stronger and better. And it creates a deeper meaning for both of us because our differences are adding value. And I think
Mhm.
that's the piece where if anyone takes anything away today, the generational differences, they can add so much value.
Yes.
And rather than saying, I'm right, you're wrong, or I've got it and you don't, it's the generational differences can be such a compliment and bring such a depth of value. And there's a quote that we wrote in this because you were part of this as well. From the child being born to every age group in between, and to the elder at the end of life, each generation deserves to be seen as valuable and capable of contributing meaningfully to your family, your community, your workplace, and beyond, even to the world.
Yeah.
We so believe that. That's internalized in me, especially after generationally supporting my parents as they entered into the other realm of what they were going to experience in passing, and it's very, very important to me to generationally be supportive of every generation.
Yeah. And there are a lot more, again, details of tools and
Yeah.
resources in this Sacred Changemakers resource toolkit. So
Yes,
we will put that information below, and just grateful for this time together, Tess, and grateful for all of the generations that have chose to participate and tune in here to our May episode of Your Choice.
absolutely. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Mhm.
Bye.